you do realize that men have a revolt factor in them, right? And for good reason. They have a revolt factor for good reason. The idea being that the less men that a woman has been with, the more likely that you can secure paternity, right? So this is the idea. The idea is that until modern times in paternity tests, the only way you could determine if a child was yours is if a woman exclusively was having sex with you, right? There was no other way to determine that. So it's wired into men to have a revolt factor to a woman's promiscuous behavior, right? It's actually wired in. So if that's the case, right, then the premise here is, hey, they find it revolting. Why would it be a sign of insecurity to for some reason do the thing you thought was revolting? It just seems the opposite to me.
But isn't it also like biologically ingrained in women to like find a provider and such like that?
Yes. Yes, I think so. So you would think that they would tailor if they wanted a provider, and they knew that men generally tend to find higher body counts to be revolting. If women were moving towards that, you would think that they would keep their body counts low on purpose, right? Like, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but not all men care about that type of stuff, and so
well,
I think
that's true. Not all do. Not all
Yes.
do. But the type of men that you would probably want probably care about that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but then there's a type of men who care about what the woman's body count is, but totally dismisses what his own body count is.
And that's what double
That's
standards
because
come
women
in.
tend to not care about that at all. In fact, it's the opposite. It's very bizarre. And this has always been a strange phenomenon to me, but I've actually seen men who are virgins in their 30s get shamed by women and told, well, wait, there must be actually something wrong with you if other women don't desire you. They're like, there must be something wrong with you. I've actually seen that. But I don't really see that phenomenon in reverse, which is strange. Like, men definitely desire women who have no body count. Like, they definitely desire that. But on the flip side
every
of
guy
that,
wants a virgin.
women don't seem to give a shit too much about a man's body count.
I don't know. Some men like their women a little seasoned. Maybe they're a little more experienced.
But most of men just want a virgin. Like, so you guys just go date
Seasoned
15-year-old
with
then hasn't done shit like what?
Why?
So you wouldn't ask
Wait.
your man
I don't
for his, like,
understand.
body count?
Why the assumption?
So is it
has
not
to
weird
be-
for a 40-year-old to be a virgin? Because my brother's a 40-year-old and he's a virgin.
So
Yeah, I think a lot of women would see that as
We're
a
talking
red
about
flag.
body count, and I have a brother who's a virgin. He's 40.
what about them?
I find that kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Well, that makes sense, right? I think
They're
that
40
most
at that
women
point,
would
right?
say that's
They're getting
weird.
old.
That's weird. That's odd. That's strange that he's 40 and a virgin, right? This actually is making my point for me. And so what does she do immediately? She's like, oh, well, if you want a virgin, go find a 15-year-old. What does the big 15 have to do with their virginity? Like,
I don't know.
all of that
Younger
is
the
just
girl,
a straight up
right?
shaming
Less experience.
tactic. It's all shaming tactic to tell a man it's inappropriate for you to not want a woman with a high body count. So that's just insane.
And actually, it's interesting. Like the 40-year-old male virgin is like a lot of women, like the women that would date him in terms of like, respective age or whatever, the women in that age range, that's going to probably be a big red flag for vast majority of women. But like somehow there's a 40-year-old virgin woman. I would argue that she's going to be pretty highly coveted by a lot of men in her own age range. They're going to be like, whoa, that's rare.
Be like a unicorn.
Whereas the dude's going to be looked at as a weirdo, right?
Yeah, dudes
Yeah.
going to be like, that's super weird.
I feel like it depends on the reason too. Like, I would be like, why are you a virgin at 40?
Because he lives with his mom and plays video games.
Okay.
Works a job, but I'm just,
That's
it's
different.
Weird. Like, go out and have
But then you
dating
wouldn't know
life
how
or
to
something, do something.
Be good in bed. So
I personally
would
don't find
rather-
it like any problem with a virgin man at all. In my
But at
opinion.
like 40?
Yeah.
If anything, he's
40 is,
becoming
I would
obsessed.
ask, like I said, I would ask.
badass sex.
Yeah, right. But that's the whole key,
mean-
right? The
Then you
whole
could
key
teach him
there is
then.
like, you would
I
ask
love
because you
teaching.
think it's weird, right? You would ask because you think it's weird.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
the
I would ask.
point.
I would just
It's
ask.
unusual for sure.
Because he could just be like
Yeah.
really religious and he just hasn't found the girl. I don't know.
And that's cute.
true.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I'm just.
Also,
Save
like,
yourself
True,
for
but
marriage.
the fact that you think it's weird is the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
yeah.
fact that you even think it's odd to begin with is showing this kind of distinction, which we're looking at, which is that definitely men seem to be very happy with women with low body counts and seem to prefer it if they can get one. Whereas women don't seem to care nearly as much about men having a higher body count. And this could have something to do with the penetrative nature of it. I'm not exactly sure why, but that does seem to be the case.
I mean, I disagree. I personally do care, like, about my man's body count. I feel like it's super important for me to know, especially because sex is such a spiritual thing that in my eyes, I feel like you should only share with one person, even though I know you guys probably disagree with that. But that's just the reason why I would probably care. I would care.
Well, I agree with you that there's many individual women that would care about this. And there's just like, but if we're talking about the wide scope of women, generally speaking, they don't seem to care as much about it as men care about it. I guess that's the point that I'm after. Not that individual women don't care about it, because I know tons that do.
Quick question for you. You said that, I don't know if you said some men or a lot of men, they prefer their women more seasoned, so like more sexually experienced.
Yeah, some of them do.
Yeah, I mean, so
They like to date strippers, OnlyFans girls.
yeah, those
People
guys are
have their
degenerates.
preferences.
But so I guess my question to you is, do you think, like, realistically speaking, do you think when it comes to the sexual experience component, well, I suppose men would like, a woman who is quote unquote good in bed, although if you're a man and you have some degree of sexual experience, you can have a pretty stellar sexual experience with an inexperienced woman or even a virgin. Do you think most men, like, if the trade-off is she's marginally better in the bedroom, or even much better in the bedroom, but this entails that she's fucked 20 additional men before me, do you think most men make that trade-off?
I don't think they think about that. Like, oh, she's
They
better in
definitely-
bed. Oh, she's probably f***ed more people. Like, it could be she's
but-
been in
It's
like
natural. Oh my
3
goodness.
It's
long-term
natural.
relationships.
Oh, but you gotta yes, I agree with, in fact, I may argue this point all the time. A woman who has a low body count, who's been in, 2 relationships, right? 2 long-term relationships. She's probably better in bed than the woman who's had 100 one-night stands with 100 different men
I
and
can
only
agree with
fucked
that.
one man one time.
I can agree with that because of my relationship.
So this idea that the higher the body count, she's going to be better in bed, doesn't really compute necessarily, because
doesn't.
she
I
could have
didn't
had
say
just
it's
a bunch of one-night
causation.
stands.
I said there's some correlation.
But your whole statement, I don't know why you bring that up, because your whole statement here is we're talking about women with higher body counts, and your position is, your argument for men would prefer a woman with a higher body count is because she's more seasoned, in other words, more sexual experience. Just
Yeah.
kind of frustrating, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's causation necessarily. Sleeping with more people makes you better in bed, but I'm saying that it gives you more experiences. Like, maybe that person's more open sexually. They'd be down to have threesomes. They'd be down to go to orgies with you.
Not
Whereas
me.
a
Why?
virgin,
Whoa,
maybe
hold
a
on.
virgin would not be as open to those sexual experiences.
But why would a guy who's already screening for low body count women, why would he want to take her
I
to
said
an
a
orgy?
woman. I said guys who
Why the
prefer a seasoned woman. You said, why would guys prefer seasoned women if necessarily they aren't better in bed? I'm saying maybe their sexual preferences and what they're open to.
So they're a cuck.
No,
You said he wants to bring his girl to an orgy.
no. I
Translation,
said,
let other men fuck her.
like, being with a stripper, I'd say she might be more open to using sex toys, trying role play, trying threesomes. But if you were to f a virgin, maybe she'd be kind of more closed off to those things. That's what I mean by more
Sex
seasoned.
is not this complicated procedure. Look,
It's different for everyone.
but again, I'll ask the question again because you didn't even give me an answer. So the question is, do you think most men, if they get a woman who's a bit better in bed, the trade-off being that she's fucked 20 other dudes, do you think most men make that trade-off?
What trade-off is happening? They're okay with her f***ing 20 more people because she's better in bed?
Can I ask you a question? How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast this morning?
Lightheaded?
Okay. Okay.
She took that round, Brian.
I could repeat myself. I don't know if that will help. you understand.
Well,
but-
what do you mean by trade-off though? He's okay with her f***ing 20 more people because she's a little bit better in bed.
Okay, so you're saying
I think no
Your
matter
position-
how she gets good in bed is none of your concern. Just be fucking grateful that she's with you and she's fucking you good. Whether she slept with 20 men before you
Should
or
women-
one guy
should
for a
women
long time.
Like in my case.
But okay, so you're saying that your position is that body count doesn't matter, and one of the benefits of a woman who has a higher body count is she's more seasoned, she has more sexual experience, and this is going to lead to conceivably better sex. So I'm asking you, do you think most men are willing to make that trade-off of the woman is better in bed, therefore I will accept a woman with a higher body count because she's better in bed?
Yeah. Some guy wants a certified
okay.
eater who will make him nut in 5 seconds, or do he want the unexperienced girl who takes an hour to get him off? Like, it's just, it doesn't.
Since when is it women who, like, y'all, oh my God. Okay. So yeah, there's like some Coomer fucking degen men, I guess, who would prefer that. Do you think most men who like want a girlfriend, do you think that those men who have a girlfriend, and if the girlfriend is not like up to par sexually, although it's something that can be worked on and communicated and talked of, he would be like, you know what? I just wish you came better experienced already, and the entailment of that is that you've had an additional 20 sexual partners. Do they make the trade-off?
No, because like I said, it's not causation. Higher bodies does not equal better in bed.
It's your position. Your position. Oh my God, bro. Your position is that a woman with a higher body count is more seasoned.
No, all I said was it doesn't matter how she became good in bed. That's none of your
You're literally
concern.
walking
That
back
should
your
not
own
be
position.
a judgment of character. That should not be a defining factor in your relationship, I feel like, because like I said, if there's no health concern, if there's no loyalty concern, then what is the concern? That's a matter of like objectifying someone, feeling like they're less worthy because they've experienced more. That's just not a good way to value someone.
I agree with that.
Because they've been with more people. Like,
What? You said it's objective.
I agree that sex is like spiritual connections. I'm not the type to just sleep around with anybody either. Like, but some people choose to do that with
How
their
is it
bodies, so that doesn't make
objectifying?
them
Why is
any
it
less of a
how is
person
it-
or any.
It makes them less worthy
of being a girlfriend or
Sure it
any
does.
less loyal in a relationship.
Sure it
No,
does.
it doesn't.
Yes, I think somebody who has a high body count is going to be deemed less desirable in the sexual marketplace. Sorry. This is a metric by which men determine whether they want to be with a woman.
Some men, but in the
Most
end,
men.
at the
Some
end of the
men
day,
don't
if she
want a
never
woman that's
tells
ran
you,
through it,
how would you
basically,
ever
then
know?
words like
Like
that.
that
Oh,
really
so you're a
isn't
liar. Okay.
At the end of the day, if she doesn't tell you, that doesn't change anything in your relationship. That doesn't make
Yes,
the
it
sex
does.
any better or less. It does not make the love any more or less. It does
Oh,
not make her any
she's a
better or less a
liar.
person.
Yes, it
more or
changes-
less promiscuous or loyal in a relationship.
Here, respond to
Because that
this.
has nothing to do with the relationship or
Yeah.
that specific person.
Okay, cool. So respond to this. You just said if she doesn't tell you. Okay, so if I ask her and she lies about it,
No, I'm saying that it's not the end of the world because that's not a determining factor. It doesn't change anything physically in the relationship.
yeah, she lied about it. You said if she doesn't
No,
tell
I'm
you.
saying at the end of the day, if you never knew what her body count is, what does that change in your relationship?
I can actually look. I'll even give you a scenario where this could be an issue. So, a woman who has more connections with men, albeit this is kind of like one of the more like niche arguments that can be made. A woman who's made more connections with men, it's inevitable that she's landed on a fucking crazy dude. And if you're involved with a crazy fucking ex, then that's an issue for me.
That can be for girls who don't sleep around with people who have just poor taste in men or just experienced bad men in their life. That
I have
doesn't
to agree
equate
with
to high
you.
body count either.
Huh?
That doesn't equate to high body count. People can have crazy exes
not
without having
necessarily,
body count
but you
50
think
plus.
the virgin woman who's never had a long-term
She can be
relation-
with an abusive man.
You gotta stop interrupting. The virgin woman, who do you think is more likely to have done the roulette until she's landed on a crazy fuck? The chick who's 100 dudes or the virgin? Who?
what if the virgin has only ever encountered the one horrible, crazy,
My God. I
abusive
can't
man?
argue with somebody who just immediately every time goes to
That's what
like the
happened to me.
exception to the rule. I just can't even have a conversation.
Maybe a
with you.
virgin wouldn't know
virgin's never had a
her
chance spinning
self-worth
with the
or
crazy
like
dude,
what else is out
period.
there in the
Like,
dating field
you-
to pick better men, and
Right,
the
good
virgin
point.
is the one who ends up with those crazy exes because they don't have those sexual encounters with
Okay,
more
fine.
Sounds like
free
me.
open-
Wow.
That actually makes
Sounds
Brian's
like
point,
me.
though. I mean, from Brian's perspective, basically, you're just saying that the virgin should go out and have sex with more men so that she doesn't end up inexperienced with men she's not having sex with. That's what your argument there would reduce to.
Wait, you or me? Me?
You, yeah.